Okay, I'd like to start out with a quick recap of Saturday's game. First of all, defensively, thought our guys played outstanding. After watching the film, they played even better than I thought. For the most part, the pass plays, we made them earn it. Quarterback made some outstanding throws. The big receiver to the boundary made some unbelievable catches, especially in the second half. Offensively, our plan going in was to be aggressive. Our plan was to play all three quarterbacks. We thought it would be successful. Obviously, it wasn't. Moving forward, Sean White will be our starting quarterback. John Franklin will get the number 2 reps this week in practice. Overall, if you look, at the big picture of things, we played the number 2 team in the country, a team that played the national championship last year with the majority of their guys back and had a chance to win the game. So that's the positive moving forward. I thought we'd find out a whole lot about our team this first game with quite a few new guys, new defensive coordinator and all that, and we got a chance to be an outstanding team. So that's what I took away from that. Just a quick update, Stephen Roberts served a 1-game suspension. He will be back this week. Now moving forward to Arkansas State, obviously I'm familiar with them. They got outstanding head coach in Blake Anderson. He's one of the up-and-coming guys. Their AD Terry Mohauser is one of the best in the business, and their president Chuck Welch is one of the best in the business also. Talking about a team that has won the conference championship 4 out of the last 5 years. They've done an outstanding job recruiting. They got a very good team. Last week they got beat by a very good Toledo team. And so we know we're going to get their best. They got some very good skill guys on the offensive side of the football, and they got a very good defense, one of the best statistically defenses in the country last year, and I believe they got 7 of those guys back. So we know we're going to get their best, and so we've kind of turned the page on last week. We're focusing on them and getting ready to play good football. Questions?
Gus, what does this mean for Jeremy Johnson going forward?
Jeremy's still going to get reps in practice. Jeremy will be ready if called upon. And, Jeremy's will be ready if we need him. And, that's where we're at.
The offensive line, what would you feel about them?
Yeah, we made some mistakes early, especially in the first half. And, we had a new center starting for the first time. We moved our center to left tackle. We had a new starter at right tackle. They did some things that were a little bit different than we thought. So it was a little bit adjusting. The good thing is they got better in the second half once we started figuring out kind of what they're doing. It was good for that unit to have a game under their belt. I really feel like they will improve, from week 1 to week 2.
As you were adamant after the game about the plan of quarterback and about the execution of it, what changed as far as the decision to go with 2 as well? Sean Starter and John Beck.
Well, going into the first game, the plan was that we were going to throw a lot at them. We felt like all 3 quarterbacks, had some things they could be successful with. We were going to give them a lot to think about. We weren't able to execute or weren't as successful as I thought we'd be with those, but that was the plan. And so a little unknown right there, throwing a lot at an opponent. And like I said, we're moving forward with Sean White and bringing along John Franklin.
Was it the rotation as far as from one possession to the next, or the rotation from one drive that concerned you?
I think it was just the overall. I mean, like I said, we thought it was a good plan. Obviously, it wasn't, like I said earlier, but the change in and out, it hurt our tempo, obviously, and so that was the take on it.
Well, John just wildcat kind of snaps too.
Who's that?
Franklin.
No, we're bringing John along with the offense, so he'll get the number 2 reps in practice.
From seeing film, what do you think John was able to do well that turned into the second team reps?
I thought when he was in there, we moved the ball pretty well. That was his first time to be out there, and we thought he handled himself pretty well for the first time being out there. From an offensive standpoint, there was some new faces out there, and from a coach's standpoint, you learn about your guys. We were curious about some of the guys and felt like he responded pretty well.
Were you surprised that Jeremy was as tentative as he was? Was that part of the issue Saturday?
No, there's a lot of things that happen when somebody looks tentative. There was a few protection breakdowns. There was a few holes that we thought would be a little cleaner to run through that weren't as clean as we thought.
Anything that jumped out with the red zone offense, where you guys struggled?
Well, you got to execute. You got to make plays. One time down there we had one that was overturned. It was a really close play. Another time we had a guy open and just kind of barely overthrew him. But bottom line is we got to score points, and that'll definitely be a focus moving forward.
When Jeremy came in specifically in the red zone, Gus, was some of the thought process there, just his performance in the red zone last season was exceptionally good compared to Sean's statistics. Was some of the thought process just the success last year would hopefully carry over?
I think it was kind of all of the above, and then we thought there'd be some running opportunities for him to run too. If you look at the bowl game last year, he ran the ball very good in the bowl game, but the holes, weren't quite what they were.
Gus, what did you talk about carry-on's performance, 23 carries, and
Yeah.
Cam Petway, is he going to have a little bit?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Cam Petway will have more of a role this game. The good thing is we learned a lot about carry-on. I think the question that y'all asked quite a bit was, can he hold up? Can he be durable and all that? And I think it was a very physical game. He earned a lot of his yards after contact, which I thought was very good. He protected the football. So I was very encouraged by him, and Petway will have a bigger role this game.
What you guys see from Sean Saturday?
Well, Sean's a tough guy. I think everybody knows that. Sean, he took some licks. He hangs in there. He can throw the ball downfield. He bought himself a little time on a couple of those, especially the one that we got the pass interference call. He did an outstanding job of buying himself some time, took a big lick. And he's got a good control of our offense too.
So you stick with a red zone package for Jeremy if you get in that situation?
Right now, moving forward, like I said, we're going to go with Sean White, and John Franklin will be our number 2 guy.
You've been pretty open in the past about how it takes you a few weeks to kind of figure out the identity of an offense and kind of recalibrate things. This season, more than anything, do you see that just because here we are in week 2 and you're already changing things a little bit?
Well, we had a lot of we were curious about a lot of things offensively. We have some new guys, quite a few new guys, playing new positions or just flat out first time they played college football. So we learned a lot about our guys, and I think we'll continue to learn the next couple games about our guys. But the takeaway is we played a pretty good defense, and the takeaway from me is we got a chance to be a good offense, and that's what we're going to continue to thrive to be, and you'll see this offense improve.
How much self-reflection for yourself was there after the game Saturday?
Well, I think any time you lose a close game, you have a chance to win. Those are the ones that hurt, and like I said, if you gotta kind of categorize that, and you got to move forward. You got to put it behind you, and move forward, and you got to take away the positive. Is we can play with anybody in the country. That's what we learned Saturday night, and next time we have that opportunity, we need to win the game against one of the top teams.
We saw a lot of Kyle Davis and Craig Myers or more of them late in the game.
Yeah.
Is that going to continue throughout the game?
Both those guys you'll see on the field more and more. They're very talented. They just need game reps. The first half, we were planning on playing our older guys, and I think that's wise, especially, in a big game, the first time they play, and we were going to gradually bring them along. But both those guys, when they were in there, I thought did some really good things, and those guys will be on the field more and more as we go.
We saw Rudy Ford on offense for a play. Is that
Yeah.
something just kind of a trick formation?
No, that's something that we'll see where that goes. He's electric with the ball in his hands. I think you can see that on kickoff return. Originally, he was a running back when we recruited him here, so we'll see where that goes. But that was just one of the wrinkles coming in.
That's Cam Martin and Landon Rice. What was their, they didn't get in the game, I guess?
Yeah, and Cam Martin's a guy that we really think can help, and he could possibly get in the game. This week we'll see where that goes. Jalen Harris did an outstanding job, for us, and thought he played well for his really first significant role.
I don't mean to sound like I'm attacking you or anything like that, but do you sometimes maybe overthink things a little bit when it comes to the game plan for the offense?
You know, what you do is you put a plan together, and that was our plan. And like I said, obviously it wasn't successful like I thought it would be, and so we're going to move forward, you know, with Sean White and bring along John Franklin.
Guys, in 2006, you saw a divisive quarterback situation firsthand, and there are coaches on your staff who've seen it as well. Cody, you saw it here, admitted to it being very divisive, called it nonsense in 2008. Was this change you're making in part to try and avoid the issues that you experienced?
Say that again, nonsense, what are we talking about?
I'm saying that Cody experienced a divisive quarterback situation firsthand in 2008 when he was here. It was prior to you here, but
Oh, when I
he
went
called
here, okay.
it at the time. I'm saying
Okay.
it's your change in thought process at quarterback, in part, trying to avoid the issues you.
Well,
saw
I mean,
then.
well, first of all, there's not going to be any of that nonsense like you're saying in 2008. You know, we're a very close team, and we'll get behind Sean. We're going to bring John Franklin along, and we're going to be fine. So as far as any kind of negativity internally, there'll be zero.
Yeah, with the coaching plan, the offensive line breakdown some on Saturday, do you feel like Herb can still stay up in the box?
Yeah, Herb will continue to stay up in the box, and you know, you got to understand from an offensive line standpoint, that was, as a group, that was their first rodeo. That was their first game together, and like I said, you're talking about 3 different new changes, and you're talking about a pretty good defensive line, and you're talking about they did some different stuff that they hadn't done the year before. And so in their defense, it's a feeling out period. In the second half, we actually moved the football and did a solid job, and I think we outgained them. So, you know, the big question, anytime you've got a inexperienced or a young group or a new group, you know, you're always looking from game 1 to game 2. You know, you need to show your biggest improvement. So we're hoping we do that not only as an entire team, but, you know, offensive line the same way.
Now, so you preached a lot at media days about winning close games, and that was the big goal, and now you're lose by 1 score this time. Do you feel that these changes or what you learned from 1 to 2 will help in now maybe?
You know, I think anytime you have experiences, each team is new. Each year is a new team, new leaders, unless you got everybody coming back. And there's no doubt that we know what it feels like. And, you know, the fact that didn't have any timeouts and we drove down the field and had 2 shots in the end zone, I mean, you take all the positives you can from a game like that, and all the negatives you put behind you. You put in your rearview mirror and you move forward. And like I said earlier, the big picture takeaway, when you take away the hurt of losing a close game that you felt like you should have won or could have won, then you put that behind you and you move forward. And the reality is we got a real solid team. And matter of fact, I think we got a chance to be really good. So that's the positive, but you got to put the other one behind and you got to move forward.
Coach, Cooper Taylor's a guy on Arkansas State's staff that you're obviously very familiar with in 3 years here. What's your favorite memory from those 3 years together?
Well, Troop's he's a wonderful person. Troop is a lot of fun. He's a fun guy. Got a great personality. Got a great family. You know, he's been very successful at Arkansas State, and I knew that he would be a good fit for them. And you know, his son is a big-time player too.
Coach, Trooper actually recently said that he thinks you're at your best as a coach when there's others who think that you're at your worst.
Say that again.
Trooper recently said that he thinks you're at your best when others think you're at your worst. For better or worse, we know how much perception drives the narrative in college football.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say inside the locker room when the perception isn't what you think it should be?
Well, I mean, I think you're always honest with your team. I think that's where it starts. You're always honest with your team, and you know, you give them the plan, and you work, and you improve, and you get better. And that's really the only thing in my mind right now.
Gus, what was your vision with the Chandler Cox Wildcat stuff? He was kind of doing the pirouette.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? How do you think that would unfold?
Yeah, well, I thought it would unfold better than it did. They lined up properly and did a good job, you know, with the fits and everything that went with it. You know, he did that in high school, And we've always had the Wildcat and all that, but we just felt like that would be a good wrinkle, and we'll see where that goes, you know. But he was very successful running that in high school, and he's a guy that we wanted to get touches. I mean, he's a good runner in his own right too, and so that was the plan.
Talked a little bit about Will Hastings last week. Is that Ray Venable said that he got word Thursday that you guys might use something along those lines in the wing tee. Does that worry you that things like that are leaking out 2 days before a game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a comment.
Talked a little bit about Will Hastings last week. How do you feel about his first performance?
Yeah, I mean, Will's got some natural ability. I mean, he had 2 big third down catches. He had a 4th down catch. You know, he's got some natural things to him. And, you know, from a new guy, you worry about if the moment's too big. And obviously it wasn't. He responded pretty well in pressure moments, and thought that was encouraging. You know, he's a real quick guy. He's a fast guy, and thought he did a solid job.
What do you think of the chemistry of the coaching staff, considering when you were working with 5 new coaches? I mean, a few of them that you already knew, just the fact that you had to work in 5 all on a game there last time.
Yeah, well, first of all, we got outstanding people. All of our coaches are outstanding people. You know, we're all together, and, you know, like I said, I thought the defense played, you know, one of the best performances that we played, I felt like, you know, since I've been here. At least one of the best, you know. Because I think what will happen is that offense, you know, is one of the best in the country. I think it'll even be better as the year goes on, as we look back.
Would you and Herb specifically did it feel like old times?
It did. It did feel like old times as far as our communication goes. And, you know, Herb's a good one.
Not to give away too much of the game plan, guys, but Arkansas State's stats last year were very poor against the pass, and they started off the season that way. And you hope to find some success in the passing game, particularly against a team that's struggling pretty.
You know, we're going to try to move the ball any way we can, and you know, that's probably the best way to answer that.
Brandon asked you just a minute ago about if Brett Venables had advanced information about the wing tee stuff. I mean, you know, commented, does that mean you think there might be a mole, or? I didn't know how to
I don't know. That's news to me. I mean, so you know.
When you see how the offense was moving with Franklin, moving forward with him, how much do you feel like you got to give him more opportunity to take the offense to another place?
You know, I think we'll just see how the season unfolds. You know, he's an inexperienced guy, and he got some experience, which, you know, I think that's a bright spot now that he's been out there, and he knows how he's going to react, and our coaches know how he's going to react. And I just, you know, we'll just see how the season unfolds, you know, as far as he's concerned. But, you know, he's very coachable. He's got a good attitude, and he moved the football, you know, when he was out there.
How much did his presence on the field help step up for carry on?
You know, it looked like it did. It looked like, you know, obviously the ends played a little bit different, and you know, he protected the football. I mean, first time when you get out there, you know, you want to make sure a new quarterback protects the football, and he did that.
JF3 with the zone read of those last 2 plays, you feel like he should have kept it. That's a learning point for him.
You know, I don't, you know, that you can always kind of look back at stuff like that anytime you zone read. But for the first time out there, I thought he did a solid job, and you know, I think he'll improve, you know, as he goes.
I guess since Stevens already served suspension, was he already able to start working with the ones again, or it's one of those things like?
No, we're gonna bring him along. I'm not ready to say, you know, where and how many reps and all that, but we reinstated him.
We'll take a few more.
Just you talk about the vertical passing game, importance of trying to get some explosive plays off of that.
Yeah, there's no doubt that was kind of a focus as far as explosive plays and vertical passing down. I think we hit the one over the top. Kyle Davis, you know, came back to, and but yeah, that'll definitely be a focus.
Yes, it seemed early on you were really trying to get Stanton Truitt involved early on. What was the thought process there? Did you feel like that was?
Yeah, we felt like there would be some opportunities on the edge with him. Obviously, they had a couple of different looks that, you know, and anytime you're the first 3 series of a game, you're gathering information as you go. And like I said, the first game is always about adjustments, because there's a good chance they're going to do something new. And so we were still gathering information. We thought we could get on the perimeter. They did a good job of keeping us off the perimeter. But that was during the feeling out time.
But James Robeson was a walk-on when he was here. He's on scholarship now, but then had a really good season last year.
Yeah.
Just what kind of players he here did you see this kind of success for?
Yeah, well, first of all, he's an outstanding person. He's got a great family. You know, he's closer to home at Arkansas State. That's where his dad played. So I'm a big Chase Robinson fan and very proud of him.
How much did you guys consider recruiting Chauncey Mason, and how much were you in touch with him just in that process? I know I think you recruited running backs in that class, but just since the Trey's success and the connection and all that.
Yeah, no, we were aware of him. We didn't really hard actively recruit. He's a very good player, but we didn't actively.
Got one more right here, Coach.
Okay, I'm gonna make this a two-part question then.
Are you okay with that?
So first, guys, I mean, I know as a coach, you want to try to treat every game the same, but it just, given the opponent this week, it's kind of impossible not to have some kind of extra attachment to it considering your time there.
Well, it was a special time for me there. They gave me an opportunity to be a head football coach, and it was a very fun year. Like I said, their president, their AD, outstanding people. All their fans treated me wonderfully. Got some special memories there. You know, from that standpoint. Then you got to separate that. You got your football team, and you got to prepare, and that's what we'll do.
And the second part of that is one of those memories that stick out the most, or is it kind of like just the entire season as a whole?
It was probably just the entire process, and everything that went with it, including the players and the fans, the administration, and everything.
All right, Coach, thank you.